Hello, I'm Mark Scholero, the owner of MS Classic Cars. Today I'm sitting behind the wheel of a very, very special car, a car that I never thought that I would own in the collection, a vehicle that we've been promoting for at least a week or so as a mystery vehicle. Well, the time is here, the time is now. This vehicle is a 1966 Ferrari 330 GTC. Following MS Classic Cars, you know that I only collect number 1 and number 2 condition vehicles. We have sold over 600 vehicles that are all on our website at msclassiccars.com. You can check them out on our sold page. We've owned some of the best cars in the world. We're very, very proud of what we've had. We've set over 50 world records and so forth. But with all of that being said, I've never ever have owned a Ferrari. And being Italian, last name Scholero, I've always loved Ferraris. I guess I'd never purchased one just because simply fear, in the sense that I was a little bit over my head with the car and the technology and so forth. Price range, all different types of factors came into play whenever I would look at one. I also will make the comment when I'm looking at Ferraris, similar to when I'm looking at Porsches or Jaguars or Alfa Romeos or any of these European models, I always notice that these cars are never restored to the level of quality that I look at when I collect vehicles. So that's another factor that sometimes comes into play. I don't really know the reasons for that, but it is what it is. So when I heard that this vehicle was going to be available for sale, it was actually through a previous customer of mine, somebody that I've become friends with, the Weatherow brothers. They actually have some fantastic cars. They're really into not only American cars, but they're also into European cars. They're huge fans of Ferrari, and that's where this particular car came from. The great thing about this particular car is it has never truly been marketed for sale since it's been in the US, which makes this a great opportunity not only for me, but for the car as well. So I'm going to get into the story of this car. As we do at MS Classic Cars, every single vehicle that I purchase, I put together a very detailed new binder with plastic sleeves. I put everything in date order as methodically as I possibly can. Most of the time I get a box, just a folder with a bunch of information stuck in it. Some cars have more than others. And then what I do is I go through all that information, I kind of put all the details together, and then I create this binder for the person who ends up buying the car, so they can kind of simplify everything from there. So to start with this binder here, I'm going to kind of go over in detail some information about this car. This video might be a little bit lengthy, but if you're somebody who's interested in a Ferrari 330 GTC or just want to learn about it as I have, this is definitely worth watching this video. One thing I will make a comment on before I start this presentation, I am not an expert with Ferraris, let's be very clear. Number two, this is a non-rehearsed video, so I have no cheat sheets, I have no second takes. This is something that I'm just rattling off as we talk here, so bear with me. I also am not really good at pronouncing certain words. I'm terrible at smelling, so there might be some things that I make hiccups on along the way, so just please bear with me and keep all that in mind. So as I start with this car here, I printed off of the Ferrari website the information about the 330 GTC here, which kind of goes over the whole history of this car here, referring to history, the engine, the chassis, things of that nature. When it comes time for Ferraris, this particular report here, the Marcel Massini report, is very important. I guess I would say that this report is similar to the Marty AutoWorks report that's done by Kevin Marty on the Ford products, or it would be similar to something like the PHS, Pontiac Historical Society paperwork that James Madison and his son JB do. This is similar to that, where it kind of shows you what the car was from the factory. It clearly states what this car was, the chassis number, which is 8827. Interesting, my favorite number is 88, so we got 8827 here. It goes into the original color, which was blue. It even gives you the code. Goes into the original interior color, which was beige. I will make a comment. This color combination is absolutely spectacular. To see it in person, I don't think you could pick one of these cars with a better color combination. I've always felt like blue was a great car color. People always gravitate toward this particular shade of blue. And then, of course, when you get a black interior with this beige trim, it's absolutely magnificent. It goes over chassis type, engine type, things like that. It talks about where the car was completed, the engine assembly was completed, and it even shows here in July of 1966 the dealership that it was sold from in Milan to the first owner, who obviously was a resident in Italy. So all this information goes down to 2007. This report was actually produced in December of 2012. As I flipped through, I went to the 330 register, which gave me the production dates and numbers. The 330 GTC was made from 1966 to 1968. It looks like we have 8329 to 11613 was the serial number during that production time frame, and a total of 600 cars were built. So understand, this is one of 600 cars that was made between 1966 and 1968, a real rare piece of European automotive history. I also plugged into the 330 register the serial number. I got some information back here, exactly what the car was, the chassis type, motor type, gearbox, differential, things like that. I also went on and I looked at the serial number locations. I know this is really important when we're talking American muscle cars and getting into Porsches and Porsche certificate of authenticities with motor numbers and training numbers and things of this. So what I did is I verified all of the numbers on this car, which again are all in the correct spot. We have a chassis number. We also have this tag that is actually placed on the inner fender that's there and present. And we also verified the engine as well, having the serial number on there. So we have a matching numbers car in the regard of the serial numbers, the color combination, and the engine. Moving on here, as I dug into the history of this car, I realized that the car was actually painted by probably one of the most renowned Ferrari painters in the world. And this information I printed off of their website. Fantuzzi is the name. It was actually founded in Modena, Italy. This article really goes over some of the accolades that this gentleman and his son did. It actually goes into talking a little bit about some other vehicles that they put their hands on regarding like the Di Tommaso and so forth. And the father died in 1986, and the operation is still existing today under the son who owns the company, and they focus mostly on body repair and classic car restoration. So once again, within our description, within this binder here, you can Google this. This car's bodywork and paint was done in Italy. It was done by one of the best companies known to exist. I'll get into the paint quality and the exterior later. Now I just want to focus on the documentation that I've done. Now, getting into the interior. This gentleman here, Luppi, this is a great story. He actually did the interior of this car. It says right here from this particular article that was written in 2018 that when it comes to the restoration of classic Ferrari interiors, there's really only one name that's considered for the reference. So the story with this is a master saddler establishes a business in 1978, Romano. It was a small workshop in Modena. He worked directly with Ferrari, upholstering some of their marquee cars. So this was a guy who opened a business and was so good that Ferrari sent cars to him to actually have him do the leather work and so forth. Think about that for a moment. He also began to offer restoration and repair services of owners of older Ferraris, hence like the car we're sitting in. His expertise soon gathered him a reputation as a specialist in the field. Before his death, he passed down the skills and knowledge that he required over 40 years to his son, Fabio, who still runs the company today. So here's a big article that I'm including. You can Google this on the internet. There's a picture of his son. He is the one who did the interior in this car. There's really not a lot left to talk about in regards to that. Moving on to this binder here, we're talking about the company who did the mechanical and who did the engineering of this car. That would be Tony Ono, and the gentleman's name here is Tony Franco. He began working his youth in Ferrari racing development. He gained popularity and expertise through his son and so forth, and they're recognized for reliability, quality, etc. They still run this company today, which is led by passion and constant commitment to tradition, without neglecting the importance of having a look onto the future. So when we start talking about the mechanical and we start talking about the engineering, Tony Franco was behind this as well. So think about that for a moment. Who did the body? Who did the interior? Who did the mechanicals? Already this car is becoming quite special. Now this car found its way into Tom Hartley, who owns a dealership in the UK, recognized for high-end exotics and classics and things like that. He acquired the car. This paperwork shows 2012. He actually sent the vehicle to GTO Engineering Limited, which is another company who specializes in Ferraris. It clearly states down here, the classic Ferrari specialist. They did a bunch of work to the car, and this is just more paperwork that kind of documents that. This is actually a breakdown from Tom Hartley showing that this vehicle was a 4-owner car since new. He kind of breaks down it when the engine was rebuilt, you know, when the interior was done, and so forth. And then there's pictures of the car when it was in the UK that Tom had taken before eventually it found its way to the US. A really well-known name in the Ferrari world by the name of Larry Alderson actually acquired this vehicle. He's in California, and it just kind of shows here with the paperwork some of the things that were traded. And in the beginning of 2013, Larry made a deal with the Weatherall brothers, who actually are from California and here in Massachusetts, and he sold the car to them and wanted to oversee getting the car to a higher level so they could take it on the show circuit, which they did, and make it correct enough to be judged with the Ferrari Club of America and take it to a platinum level, which they accomplished. I'll get into that in a minute. So here we have a bunch of receipts that Larry kept, and we're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars here. As an example, this one receipt is $11,000. We got a $4,000 receipt, $5,000 receipt, $7,000 receipt, and so forth. It just goes on and on and on. And by the end of 2013, beginning of 2014, as I discussed, the car was invited to this particular show here, which is called the Quail. This is part of the Pebble Beach deal. This is the great Ferraris. It shows here the Weatherall brothers in California, 66 Ferrari 330 GTC. So it was displayed at Pebble Beach. There's a picture of that, which is within our listing. Again, you can check it out at msclassiccars.com. Also, during that time frame in 2014, it was actually May 18th, the car went to the Ferrari Club of America show, where it actually scored a platinum award here. This is a really, really big deal in the Ferrari community, something that this is, very proud of for everybody that was involved, and something that stays with the car. So there's more pictures of that and so forth on our website. Again, here's more documentation. The car, there's even a bill of lading when the car was taken to Pebble Beach by Larry. This is also something here, the Concours Ferrari 2014. This is their registration paperwork. That's for the award. This is actually the display card, okay, and so forth. That was in Laguna Niguel, California. And again, more receipts. The car eventually came to Massachusetts. That work started in around 2016, 2017, and all of that information is here. One of the brothers actually deals with the Boston Sports Car Company, which is a very reputable company. The father and son have owned it for quite some time. The father worked for Ferrari. They're extremely, excellent at what they do, and they had repair work done. Again, nothing major. This was all stuff so the car could perform and drive and be enjoyed, and everything is here. And we just kind of fast forward to 2019, 2020. In 2020, it was April. They had a major service done. They invested $10,562. This was again in April of 2020. The car had 10,400 miles on it. Right now it has 10,500 miles on it. So since the service was done, it's only been driven about 100 miles. And the last thing they did in April was they put a set of brand new tires on this car. So that kind of ends the presentation of this vehicle. You can clearly see that this is a very, very special piece, something that I'm extremely proud of, something that I'm sure after watching this video that you'll be in agreement with, that it's definitely a special piece. And again, this car has been shown at Pebble Beach. It has won a platinum award. The vehicle does have a reproduction owner's manual. I think it was an $800 ordeal. That's inside the glove box here. So this is included. We have this pictured within our listing. It does have a complete set of reproduction tools. There are receipts of over $7,500 that were spent on those tools. There's two pouches, the jack tools, and then all of the hand tools and so forth. All of that is included with the car as well. So again, it's the entire package from start to finish. Now, getting into the exterior of the vehicle, I am going to do, following this video, a complete exterior presentation of this car. I'm just going to spend probably 5 minutes or so walking around the car, going over everything in detail. To tell you now, the exterior is absolutely beautiful. The body is super straight. All of the components like the hood, the doors, the trunk lid, they all open and close beautifully. The body is laser straight. The paint is spectacular on this car. I can't believe this car was painted in 2007. It looks like something that was painted in 2017. I personally put my hands on this car when we were detailing it. I gave it a real nice foam polish with an orbital. and it just looks absolutely spectacular. All of the glass is in beautiful condition. I'll go over that during the exterior presentation as well. The bumpers, all of the emblems, all of the trim work, the bottom moldings, all the emblems, everything's in beautiful, beautiful show quality condition. The wheels are beautiful. They have the center spinners, the 10-hole spoke style wheel, and they also have beautiful, beautiful tires that look absolutely awesome on this car as well. We did include some exterior photos within our gallery that were taken from the UK before the car came over. You definitely have to make sure you take a look at that as well. Getting into this interior of this car, part of my presentation is going to be jumping into the interior. I'm going to start the car. I'm basically going to go over how everything functions in this vehicle. I can't say enough about this interior. This headliner here, the pattern of it is the same as the seats, so it really flows together. This is kind of a lighter, creamier white color. Same thing with the sun visors that kind of give you that more open, spacious look. So they did a really nice job with that. It's got these really nice grab handles here, these dome lights which do work. It's got some coat hangers. They just look really, really nice how they laid everything out in here. You'll also notice that I'm 6 foot. I'm sitting in this car with plenty of leg room, plenty of headroom, very, very comfortable cabin. This is one of the most drivable Ferraris. That's how a lot of people refer to this car, because it is so comfortable. The car runs so beautiful. Everything is so easily accessible, and it's user-friendly. Getting into the dash of the car, the dash is actually all black. It's in beautiful condition. The entire fascia is all wood. The wood looks beautiful. All the gauges are black. They are tastefully done. You got 5 gauges in the center section. You got 3 gauges here. All the gauges, by the way, are in working order. The clock even works in this car. Getting into the steering wheel is wood. It's absolutely beautiful. All of the signals and everything work. The windshield wipers work. Getting down to this beautiful center console here. The console is black as well. All of the switches are in working order. The radio works, the power antenna works, the power windows work. I'm going to get into that again in the presentation I do following this video. The black that is actually on top of the dash, it flows on top of the door panels, on the actual armrest, and into this back section here. So it's kind of cool how it goes from this cream color white to black to wood. And then, of course, the door panels, the back rear panels, and the bucket seats are beige. It's like the ultimate color combination, and having a black rug just really puts the icing on the cake. So this interior is something that is truly remarkable. Considering that this car is from 1966, it feels like I'm sitting in a vehicle from the 80s or 90s. It's that ahead of its time as far as its design and layout. I just can't say enough about it. Getting into the engine compartment. When I first looked at this car and we opened up the hood and I saw that hood installation pad, which looks like a quilt, underneath the hood with those beautiful chrome slats that kind of hold it up and so forth, I immediately could see the richness that went into this car as far as the design and the way that it looks. And when I looked at that motor in there, that is an absolute beautiful piece of artwork, that engine compartment. If somebody were to look at that today, if you asked your average person and said, what vehicle do you think that's from, if you blocked out the words Ferrari, they probably would say it was something from the 80s or 90s or whatever the case might be, because it looks so modern. So again, I can't say enough about that. It was all finished. I'm referring to the firewall, the inner fenders, everything, the radiator support. It's all finished in black. Of course, the car is powered by the famous 4-liter V12 motor that sounds absolutely spectacular. It has that beautiful Ferrari sound. The motor was rated at 300 brake horsepower. That's a lot of horsepower in 1966. If you try to think about that. It's very, very user-friendly, this engine. One of the things about this car, when I got it and the first time I sat in it and the first time I drove it, I thought it was going to be overly complicated. It's as simple as any car that I've ever owned. To start this vehicle, to drive it, it's just a very, very simple car to drive. Talking about driving, we did a very, very cool video. I believe it was like a 10-minute video of this car driving through the back roads and highway in Massachusetts. Beautiful autumn with all the trees and everything else. It was a great video. We really pushed the car in the video. We got it up 7,000 RPMs on multiple occasions. You got to make sure that you check out that video as well. We are going to be listing this vehicle on Bring a Trailer. So on our website, you're only going to see one video. We have kind of an older website. We don't have multiple spots for videos. We are working on a new website that we will. But for now, when we list it on Bring a Trailer, you can visit our YouTube account at MS Classic Cars. You will be able to see all the videos for this car that we're doing. So we're doing the video that we're watching now. We're going to do a presentation video. You can watch our driving video. I actually might even be doing another video with a long-term friend of mine who sold Ferraris new earlier next week. His name is Tom Fair. Trying to put that together as we speak. But getting back into the engine of this car, obviously everything was rebuilt. Everything is in beautiful condition. The engine has that awesome black cover that covers those 3 Weber carburetors. Again, everything in there has been tastefully done. It's been nicely detailed. The engine is coupled to a 5-speed transmission, which shifts beautifully. The clutch in this car is very easy to use. You can shift it simply through all the gears as we demonstrate in our video. The undercarriage of this car is in beautiful condition. It's all finished in black. All the suspension was done. All the brakes were done. All of that was actually done between the 2014 and current. So you make sure you check that out. The exhaust system. This is just a car that we're super, super proud of. It's a car that has been verified here with this report. It's a car that's been shown at Pebble Beach. It's a car that has been judged and won a platinum award. It just doesn't get any better than this. So I appreciate you watching this video. I know it was probably a little bit lengthy, but I had to make sure I got my point across with this vehicle. And once again, make sure you please watch all the other videos we're doing as well. I'm going to go ahead and start this car quickly for you, let you listen to how beautiful it runs. And what I will do is I will shut the vehicle off after I start it, just to show you a couple of starts and how well the motor is actually dialed in, okay? So we're going to go ahead and start it now. It's very simple. Every single time, starts absolutely beautiful. No Ferraris, especially classic Ferraris. That is very, very impressive. What I'm going to do is go ahead and shut this off. You can see how quickly it shuts off. I'm going to go ahead and turn the key and show you how fast it starts again. As I said before, keep in mind that this is not a car that I've driven today and have warmed up completely. I literally let it warm up for maybe 2 or 3 minutes before I did this. I just want to go ahead and show you again. Flick of a key, you hear the fuel pump come on. No gas, no nothing. Key fires up beautifully. Sitting here at 500 RPM to turn like a kitten. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. Rock and roll.